Hey, whoa, I'm trying to make a video here. I guess today we're gonna review Winston. He's the best dog that there is, and that's all I really have to say about it. Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna do a classic what's in my camera bag style video. I don't think I've actually ever done one of these before, but it should be fun. I'm not out here rocking the newest, most expensive gear, but it gets the job done. And I'm super thankful and excited to be able to say thank you to Brevity for sending out one of their newer camera bags. This is not necessarily gonna be a review on this camera bag, but they did ask if I'd wanna feature it in a video like this. So I'm gonna break it down, tell you what I love about it. I didn't sign anything. I don't have to say only good things about it, but I do really like it. Hey buddy, he's back. If you enjoy this video, please hit like down below. I'd really appreciate it. And let's get into it. So this is Brevity's jumper camera bag. The color is pine green. And if you know me, you know I freaking love this color. Like, look how nicely these earth tones go together. This is really cool to me because I've been using this Brevity bag since 2018, and it's not like I haven't taken care of it, but I've thrown it around and used it like the tool it is, and it's still in pretty much perfect condition. I'm in love with that bag, and I'm excited to say that after using this one for a bit, I love it just as much. They're very different. This one is a lot bigger. I know it doesn't really look like it right here, but I can fit my whole life ×2 in this. And I would say this is more of an everyday carry version of that bag. It'll probably be a 70-30 split. I'll use this 70% of the time as my everyday carry or YouTube videos or smaller productions. Or if I'm going on a big trip or a bigger commercial shoot that I'm in charge of, I'll literally just pack this full of everything I need or don't need and take it with me. This bag has a semi-soft shell design. It kind of keeps its shape no matter how much stuff is in it. Whereas this bag, if you empty it out, it's just kind of like loose and everywhere, which I don't enjoy when I'm sitting in a coffee shop and I'm trying to keep my footprint small. Okay, with all that said, let's get into what's in my camera bag. So like I said, I'm gonna be using this as my everyday carry bag. So I'm gonna be packing it as if maybe I'm going out to make a YouTube video with Jacob, and then later that day, I wanna bust out my computer, get my hard drives out and edit that same video or just do some work. Okay, so let's start out with probably the most important thing in my camera bag, my camera, and I'm rocking the Sony A7S III. I claim that this camera is what ended gear acquisition syndrome for me. Up to the point that I got this camera, I was always like, oh man, what camera can I get next? What's new? What's the best? But I feel like Sony really knocked it out of the park with this camera. It does everything I need, from making YouTube videos to shooting commercial productions. If you look up the stuff this camera can do and produce online, it's really amazing for a $3,500 camera. The only thing I don't like about the A7S III is that when it was released, Sony released the FX3 alongside it as the more cinema version, and I get that, but they're the same camera. And recently, Sony has been giving a lot of really good updates to the FX3 that I would love to have in this camera. I'm 99% sure that they could do it with this camera too, but that they just want to keep it separate and keep it in the cinema line. And honestly, I think that's pretty rude. This is the S3 line. Anyone that's buying an S camera is mainly a video person. So yeah, that's my little rant. Love this camera. If you're mainly video, I'd buy the FX3 instead. Before I drop it in, let's talk lenses. This is the Tamron 17-28. I love it. It's my widest lens, and I use it a lot of times for making YouTube videos so that I can vlog or talk to the camera. I'll go ahead and place this in the bag, and then we'll talk about my other lenses. The next lens we have is its counterpart, the Tamron 28-75. A freaking great lens and a good budget option instead of buying the G Master. Both of these are great budget options compared to the G Masters. I've never really had problems with them, and as far as zoom lenses go, I'm not really interested in buying G Master zoom lenses. If I'm gonna spend $2,000–3,000 on a lens, it's probably gonna be a prime lens or a cine lens or something like that. But yes, these two are a freaking powerhouse, and more times than not, one of these two lenses is on my camera. If it's a commercial job, I will definitely have this with me. It's too versatile to not have a 24-70, especially since this is the most telephoto lens I have at 75. But sadly for this video, the 28-75 will not be making it into the bag. All right. This is the Sigma 35 1.4. There's a couple of these. I don't really remember which one it is. I think it's the DJ HSM Art, but I know for a fact that there is a more recent version of this lens that is just as much, if not cheaper, and a little bit better, most likely in the autofocus realm. But a few things I do love about this lens, it's relatively really heavy. So when I'm looking for that thick, heavy handheld cinema look. I build the Sony rig out with the top handle and the V-mount and the Ninja 5, and then I put this chunker on it. It has some really nice weight, and I like that, and I feel like it helps get the look that I want. Also, it's a 1.4, but because of the next lens, my newest lens, the Sigma also will not be making it into the camera bag. All right, this is the Helios 44-2 58mm modified lens. I'm gonna post a video about this lens soon. It's been really fun, but I saw someone post a YouTube video about it the other day. It was used in the Batman and the car chase scenes. They rehoused them to make them heavier and put gears on them so you could use a wireless follow focus system and all that good stuff. But essentially, this is the same lens. What got me to buy it is the characteristic bokeh that it has. It has a nice kind of swirly oval bokeh, not quite anamorphic, but getting closer to that look. And the people who modified this lens also added an oval inlay to the back lens element and a blue streak. So now it gives pseudo anamorphic flares, and the oval inlay gives it a little bit more of an anamorphic look. Also thought it was really cool because this is, I believe, a Russian lens, and all of the top sellers on eBay are camera shops in Ukraine. Obviously there's stuff going on over there right now. So I was super happy to be able to buy this from someone who loves the same things that I love and is spending their time in their situation that they're in, freaking modifying old lenses. That's so dope. So shout out to everyone that's in that situation. I hope you're doing all right. But yeah, because it's new and it's interesting, 58mm, this right now is making it into my lens bag. Sweet. Okay, so that knocks out all the lenses. Let's talk audio. So my main mic is the Rode VideoMic NTG. I really love this mic because it's a good hybrid between Rode's more serious and expensive NTG line like the NTG 2 and 3 and the classic Rode VideoMic Pro or Rode Video Micro. Aside from the upgraded sound quality from something like the Video Micro, there's a couple of things I really love about this mic. Number one, it has a gain knob right here on the back, so I can beat worst case scenario filming an interview and just kind of slide it down just a little bit if I see that my levels aren't where I want them to be. And then another super awesome feature is there's basically a make it impossible to clip mode. So if I press this button right here, the left channel will continue to record whatever decibel level I have it set to, but the right channel will record, I think it's 10 or 12 decibels lower than the left channel, just as a backup, just in case something is clipping. This has come in handy a lot, especially making YouTube videos when I don't have a lot of time to monitor my audio levels. Like in this iPhone photography video, I was shooting talking heads where the camera is, you know, about 4 or 5 feet away from me, and then I would pick it up and start vlogging where the camera was like 1 foot away from me. And I didn't always remember to change my gain levels, but thankfully, since I had that mode turned on, I could just switch to the right channel in post and it would have all of my nice unclipped audio. So that's an awesome feature. It also has a high pass filter mode at a couple different intensities, but I don't really use that because I'll just add that in post when I'm EQing the audio. So yeah, the Rode VideoMic NTG. Okay, my next big piece of audio gear is the Rode Wireless Go, the first iteration. I'm obviously using these right now, so I'll probably just show B-roll of these, but it's a really good, simple to use wireless lav kit. I feel like a lot of lav kits are unnecessarily complicated and look like radios from the 60s. Of course, they're much better. They have way further range. And I will say that the Wireless Go ones are basically obsolete and you should probably not buy them ever. I would never buy them now that the updated version is out, and on the updated version, you have more control. You can record straight to the Rode Wireless Go if you need a backup. And the best part is you can have multiple receivers. Like I said, I love backups, and I would much prefer, especially on a work job, to record lav and boom at the same time. But since I'm on the Rode Wireless Go ones, I can only have one receiver at a time. So love this kit, love the idea, love the simplicity, but I would definitely go for the 2s at this point. I'm sure they have longer range. The range on these is like not great and pretty much always needs to be line of sight. I'll throw those stats up here if I can find them. Along with that, I also have the Rode Lav mic. I don't know if it has a more professional name, but it's their most updated lav mic. It's really nice and it looks really cool. All right, before we move on, I've realized that I put my camera in the wrong spot. As I mentioned earlier, I prefer to put my camera in the top portion of the bag. That way when I'm just out, like not really using my camera, but want to take a photo or a quick behind the scenes video for content, I like having it in the top portion so I could just grab it out. So I'm gonna take the camera and load it in the top of the bag. All right, while we're up here in the top portion, I'll go ahead and put everything else I would normally put in there. So we have my MacBook Pro charger. And before I forget, I'm gonna throw my original AirPods in here. There's a nice little zipper pouch in here, but I'm constantly showing up to coffee shops without any headphones because I'll go to the gym and then keep my AirPods in my shorts pocket and forget to grab them. So these are in here. I better never show up anywhere to edit without headphones again. It's the worst. While we're at it, let's go ahead and load the laptop in here. So I am rocking the 14-inch Apple M1 Pro MacBook Pro. I really love this thing. I love the size. I'm a big fan of the 14-inch screen, and of course, the ports are back. So I will say, if I had the money at the time, I would have gotten the 16-inch, not for the screen size, but strictly so that I could have gotten the M1 Ultra chip. This computer does pretty much everything I need to without lagging, but once I get into DaVinci with 6 or 8K footage and start trying to put noise reduction on it, there's no way I can edit in real time. But it's not their top of the line model, so I wouldn't expect it to perform like a top of the line model. This is what I'm talking about. It's nice, it's structured, it's thick, I like it. All right, let's get back to camera gear. So a lot of times I like to rig out my A7S III with a monitor and a top handle. This is the Atomos Ninja 5 recorder and monitor. I'm gonna be super honest, I've never used this to record ProRes RAW or anything. I always just use it as a monitor. Probably at this point, I could go back and just get a larger monitor. I'm a big fan of 7-inch monitors right now, but it does what I need it to do. And eventually I'm gonna get into recording that ProRes RAW. Maybe I'll make a video on that and see if it's worth it. But either way, pretty good monitor, great recorder. There's better options if you're just looking to monitor. Don't fall into the trap of the ProRes RAW thing if you're not gonna use it. And I also have this SmallRig NATO rail monitor mount on it so that I can quickly throw it on my camera. So let's get that in there. This is the SmallRig top handle. It's a quick release NATO rail attachment, and then it has a recording trigger on the top. Love that. Has a little cord that you have to plug into the handle and then plug into your computer to get the thing to work. I know they have like a Bluetooth option for start-stop recording. If that's your jam, if you want less cables, go for that. And then I have a little NATO rail on the front so that I can throw the Atomos on it super duper quick, like that. Love having NATO rails and quick releases for this reason. I don't have a big cinema camera bag, so I can't really keep my camera built out. Let's get these two in there. I'll go ahead and throw their cables in there with them just to be close in proximity. They're all wrapped together and have a nice little cable management thing going on. Let's drop those in there as well. Okay, dope. So looking at this now with the camera loaded in the top, I think I actually can throw one more lens in here very comfortably. Since we already have the 58mm prime, that's an f2. I'm gonna grab the 28-75. Let's get the Rode mic back on top, and that fits super nicely. Now I have 3 lenses in this tiny little bag. Let's go. And still, I don't even know what I'm gonna put here. Let's find some stuff to put in here. Since we have the extra space down here in the camera department, I'm gonna throw in a couple of batteries for the Atomos. Normally, I wouldn't carry these because normally I would power this with a V-mount. The rest of the A7S III full rig is the base plate I'm using right now, and then a V-mount attachment to that. But I don't have to put either of those in the camera bag because I can just keep them on my tripod. So I'm gonna slide a couple of those in there just in case I don't feel like using the full V-mount setup. And then I'm gonna toss in the Aperture MC. It's small, it has a little bit of diffusion on it if I ever need to light something on the go. And while we're at it, I'll go ahead and throw my camera battery charger and my extra camera battery in the camera department. Let's go ahead and zip up, whoa! Okay, so that's all for the camera department. Let's zip that bad boy up. And then let's get into the smaller front-facing compartment. While we're on the note of chargers, I also like to throw in a couple of USB-C chargers. The Rode Wireless Go takes USB-C, the Rode mic takes USB-C. So it's always nice to have a couple just in case it's like a multi-day shoot or a weekend trip and I'm not coming back home before. I like to have a couple of these on me. Okay, next, this is one of the cheapest and one of my favorite things that I have in my camera bag. This is just a little box of extra bolts and screws from SmallRig. Sorry, it's jingly. This is a lifesaver. So there are 8 little compartments, all with a different size screw or bolt in them. This is freaking amazing if you're on set or you're on a shoot and you're like, oh man, I have a base plate for my gimbal, but I don't have a freaking bolt in it. Nah. Whether it's me that is missing a bolt or someone else on set, just slipping this out of my backpack, popping it open, and giving them their bolt of choice. There's some like really tiny ones in here too that I've never used, but one day you might need something like this. So let's slide that in there. This will never not be in my camera bag. On a similar note, we have the red tool. Aaron got this for me, which is super dope because he always shoots on red. And we have this little thing going where he thought I lost his red tool, but come to find out it was in the front seat where he was sitting. So he most likely put it there, not me. But yes, thank you, Aaron, for the red tool. Always good to have any kind of camera tool. It has a couple of different hex keys, a Phillips head, and the ever important screw your tripod plate in thing. So that is gonna go right in the camera bag. If I'm on set, usually I'll clip it to my pants just to have it at hand. But let's get it in there with the bolts. And then the last thing for this section of the bag are my hard drives. Normally, I'm always editing off of a hard drive, so let's grab, my most active Lacy hard drive. I love the little like compartments that it has to hold things down. And then I'm gonna throw in this tiny but powerful SanDisk SSD. If I had the money, I would only buy these, but they're dummy expensive, but they're super fast. And I have some active footage on here right now, so I'm gonna slide it on in. And then of course the cables. All right, very last thing I'll throw in sometimes is the Joby Gorilla Pod. I think this is the 5K. It's nice aluminum, holds up the Sony with the cage really easily, even with the Sigma lens on it. And this bag has a really nice small tripod or like water bottle holder section. I love how this strap clips in. It's super convenient, super easy, and definitely an improvement from the older bag. So there it is. It's all packed, ready to go on an everyday carry, possible YouTube video making, possible doing some work on my laptop adventure, the Brevity Jumper. Such a good camera bag company, honestly. And if you're like, oh man, that bag is almost perfect. I like the way it's set up, but I wish they had a larger version. They do. So you can actually buy this in a large version. If you need something bigger, something to take on full productions, check out the large. You can use my link in the description, brevity.com/Dustin Harrelson. That feels really cool to say. But yeah, if you want to grab anything from them and support me a little bit, you can check out that link. If you have any questions on the gear I'm using or how I use it, you can drop that in the comments down below. If you want to see my full A7S III breakdown, you can check it out right here. And I go through all the specific parts that I'm using. If you want to check out my lighting gear, you can check it out right here. Thank you so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate it, and I'll see you next week.